I was young and free, and my imagination had no limits, I dreamed of changing the world. As I grew older and wiser, I discovered the world would not change. So I shortened my sights somewhat and decided to change only my country. But it too seemed immovable.
Mr. Chairman, getting richer and richer with Chip today.
I got more bills passed than everybody on this committee put together.
As I grew into my twilight years, in one last desperate attempt, I settled for changing only my family, those closest to me. But alas, they would have none of it. And now, as I lie on my deathbed, I suddenly realize, if I had only changed myself first, then, by example, I would have changed my family. From their inspiration and encouragement, I would have then been able to better my country. And who knows, I may have even changed the world.
5130 changed my perspective.
5130 has renewed my passion.
5130 helped me find purpose.
5130 renewed my passion.
5130 has renewed
5130 has changed my
5130 has helped me become the man I want to be.
5130 changed my
5130
life.
changed my life.
5130 changed my life.
my life.
5130 changed my life.
If I had only changed myself first. It can be such an easy thing to say, but a difficult thing to do. As you may all know, 5130 centers around weekends where 20 to 50 guys get together in one house. And when the pandemic began, the 5130 leadership team knew we would have to change ourselves in order to keep the momentum going. Just before the lockdowns begun, Project 5130 was in the middle of our most impactful year yet. Here's just a little bit about the direction that we were heading. In addition to the high school weekends that we've always done, we hosted our first ever college weekend. We put together a weekend for Wheaton Lacrosse and began our partnership with Raising Amazing Men. In 2020, we were already planning another Wheaton Lacrosse weekend, a second level leadership weekend, and our first weekend with Pastor Pagel and the students from the inner city Chicago schools.
What would you say to a parent that's thinking about sending their kid on the weekend, Project 5130 weekend? What would you say to them?
I would tell that parent that it would be to their best advantage to have their son attend a 5130 weekend. The word that comes to mind is life change. Those guys experienced life change.
What would you say about the value of partnering with 5130? How that might be something worth checking into?
My whole internal motivation here is to partner with Project 5130. We're just here in one school right now, but I'd like to see this thing saturate Chicago. And not just saturate Chicago, I like to see 5130 saturate Chicago and the cities of the world. Partnering here means a lot. I couldn't do it myself. Perhaps you all couldn't do what I do, but I can't do what you guys do. And so the partnership just makes it easy. I just see the hand of God just orchestrating the affairs of what's going on in this movement here because we're together.
All right, yes, 5130 has changed my life, mainly in two ways. The first being accountability, being around a group of guys that, will tell me when I mess up and hold me accountable for mistakes, I will make. And then because of this, Fred talks about this a lot, but maintain your growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. I would say before, I became a part of 5130, I definitely held a bit of a fixed mindset. I was very cautious and, was kind of afraid to try new things for fear of failure. But now, after I started 5130, I think I've done a better job of, jumping into new things and, not worrying about failure, and also recognizing that failure is a way that I can improve myself. and become more of the person that God wants me to be when I learn from that failure.
There's so many things that men especially go through as they're getting older, and you get like a lot of that mix in this retreat, and it doesn't make them feel like there's some outsider, like they're just alone, like there's other people that are going through the same thing, you know. So it really just like, I feel like it really opens those kids' eyes to like realize that they're not alone, and I feel like a lot of kids get something out of it when they leave.
Self-accountability. I like walked out of it like, all right, you know what, it's time to grow up, like just step up. Being with a bunch of leaders that were really good at holding you accountable, but also making your mistakes feel normal, you know? So the whole time I've never felt alone. It made it a lot easier to recognize my faults and correct them when I left, which I think definitely helped my entire life afterwards.
My hope is that they go on the weekend, experience a move of God that they've never experienced before. They come back and impact their families. They come back and impact their friends. They come back and impact their friends that will impact friends. And this thing will actually get such a ripple effect that Chicago will feel it.
It was probably the most open and honest I've ever had to be with a bunch of strangers, like ever. And it was the most I've been held accountable in a long time. It was very eye-opening.
A lot of growth, especially being able to bond with my teammates. Yeah, and so I really got to know a lot of them more, and honestly I got to grow a lot with them as well. So.
When lockdowns began, we quickly realized that if we were going to continue our mission of changing the world, we would first need to change ourselves. Our one-year program, a one-on-one discipleship program that focuses on accountability, vulnerability, and connection, became the point of focus. Instead of journeying together from weekend to weekend, we began journeying with each other from day to day. One thing we always knew we could improve upon was how we stayed connected with our participants once a weekend was over. This past year, we have learned more than we ever thought possible about how to build and keep relationships and how to stay connected even when we aren't together. We've taken this time to round out our ministry and give new meaning to the saying, "The journey continues." It was with your donations at our last banquet that it was possible for us to grow our reach and to have the ability to put on our college weekend, lacrosse weekend, partnership with Raising Amazing Men, fly in different participants from all across the country, and now with the implementation of our new one-year program, we feel more confident than ever that we are ready and equipped to take Project 5130 to the next level.
I believe that it's this kind of thing that's going to bring life change. It's going to change the culture of this school. It's going to change the culture of schools. It's going to change the culture of families. It is going to impact Chicago in a way that Chicago has never been impacted before. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be a part of something like this.
If I were to tell someone who is kind of debating whether or not to go, I would tell them, just do it. You know, it's a risk you gotta be willing to take. If you want your life to be changed, if you want to find your purpose, power, and passion with Jesus, do it. Because I guarantee you, if you come on this weekend, you will find that.
I tell him just to suck it up and go, honestly.
I would tell him that he should go because you learn a lot of truth about yourself, you dig in deep.
If you're gonna put yourself in that position, you're gonna get a lot out of it. So I mean, just be open to something new.
I would say they should definitely do it because you meet a lot of new people, people from all over that are very kind. They all like to pitch in and help each other. You just really bond closely with them. You have a fun time. It's an excellent experience.
If you're going to go, you know, be able to dig into the whole process, be vulnerable. You know, you're gonna get out what you put in. So if you just go in there kind of lax, you know, you're just not gonna really get anything out. But if you dig in with the people you're there with, you'll get out what you put in. So.
And it's really, if you're on the ropes with it, talk to any guy that's gone on it, any guy that's had the time to do it or been involved with it as long as I have, or just recently doing it. I promise you they'll only have good things to say.
So I would say do it. You know, it's such a great thing to be a part of, and you'll grow so much. I've grown more in the last, 17, 18 months than I have ever. You know, it's been absolutely amazing, having people in your life that, care about you and, want you to grow and that are willing to walk alongside you no matter what happens, no matter your screw-ups, your past. So I would say do it, just do it.
I feel like every time that you go, there's always something more to get, every day is different. You're always changing, your life is always changing. And so to have that weekend where you're just grounded, felt good. I wasn't the only one going through stuff. I wasn't the only one that needed the release and the retreat. And I loved it.
As we continue our journey of asking every day, how can we change ourselves first, we're now asking you to help us change the world.